You say the government wants to dialogue with them, but you know, there are those who also ask, wait a minute, you want to dialogue? Doesn't that show that the government is not decisive enough? Because they go back in history to Somalia, for instance, in 2009. The president at the time said they were going to dialogue with that militant group, terrorist group, Al-Shabaab. Eventually the parliament voted for it, but now they're regretting their actions. So aren't we about to see the same thing going on here?
You see, in this case, the federal government said it is going to use the carrot and stick approach to resolving the matter. For us in Borno State, we have opted for the carrot approach because these are our brothers. We may not know immediately what their grievances are, but we believe that eventually we will reach somewhere where we'll still embrace each other and sit down and discuss as the brothers that we've always been.
In this case, there will be no stick, just carrots.
That is what we are offering on our part.
Oh, okay.
We want to dialogue with them. The federal government, which in this case is a higher authority, has the prerogative to decide what method they want to
use.
They have taken over the security operations in that place, but as a government, responsive to the yearnings and aspirations of our people, responsive to their angst, is offering to dialogue with any section of the society that is aggrieved for whatever reasons. Those who are conversant with our attitude in Borno State can tell you that the average Borno man will not take up arms against his own brother for whatever reason, including religion.
That is a surprising thing, because before now, a home of peace, and all of a sudden we're getting to see all of that. And as you rightly said, these are our brothers, these are our people. But again, according to media reports, they say those who are recruited into this particular movement or sect are people in the universities. These are young people from between the ages of 21 to the mid-30s. And if true, it means that someone somewhere is in talks with some of these people. Now we're talking about they not being a faceless group anymore, because sometimes they also grant interviews in the BBC House of Service. If that is correct, by now we should have maybe some kind of dialogue, even if it's an unofficial dialogue. Has the government had any kind of unofficial dialogue with any member of the group whatsoever?
We are exploring all avenues of dialoguing with these people through whatever means, not necessarily official. And if there are people who know that they can reach out to these people and serve as middlemen so that we could link up and discuss with these people, we are very willing and quite willing.
Okay.
Like I said, this incident of Boko Haram is far beyond the ordinary thing people see around. Now, people talk about Boko Haram as if it's a very small creation somewhere. Like you rightly observed, they are deeply into religious things. There are very high intellectuals amongst them. Even from their modus operandi, you know that these are people that perhaps understand certain trends.
I can tell you that nobody will take them lightly after the attack on the police force headquarters. Well, a host of people have said that they're not, Boko Haram has claimed responsibility, but they can't be sure or can be certain for sure that that was Boko Haram. But be that as it may, let's examine this carrot approach that you intend to use. If you look at some of the things that they have listed as Boko Haram, what people know about them is that they say they do not want Western education. That's one of the things that they say they do not want. They do not regard the constitution of Nigeria. They do not seem to recognize the state. They want a total enforcement or strict enforcement of the Sharia law in parts of northern Nigeria. Now, when we say we want to use a carrot and carrots only approach, the question is, how much ground is your government willing to give in its carrots and carrots only approach?
Because they seem to be using the stick while government wants to use the carrot.
That is why I said that until you sit down with these people one-on-one, with their representatives, and know what actually are their grievances, you may not be able to take any action. Because from what you are saying, they are based on media reports. And like I told you, there are a lot of misinformation in the reports you read in the media.
Is this a misinformation? The fact that they abhor Western education, is that a misinformation?
No, they have not officially come out to tell us that is their position, because, like you said,
they were quoted on BBC.
Yeah, that is why I told you that
the interview that they had with one of them, they say. And the good thing, you also were with BBC House of Service, so you can tell us about it.
Yeah, I am not disputing the fact that the BBC reported or other media houses reported that these are part of their demands. But until we sit down with them, we won't know what actually are their demands. Are they actually against Western education totally? Some of them, like you said, were recruited from the academia.
That's a very key point. Is it a total abhorrence to Western education or a section? Because, well, in some write-up, they say what they really don't like about Western education is the origin of man, the theory, the Big Bang theory of the origin of man. Yeah, we read that, and they say, well, if you say man is as a result of some kind of cause and effect, but the Big Bang theory, that they don't like that. But in other aspect of biology, which is also in the Quran about the way a child is given birth to, that's the aspect of it they want. So if you've been talking with them, and now we're using your word, it's not a total abhorrence to Western education, what exactly do they want, since they say this is what we don't want out of the Western education?
I think much more than the Western education, what they offer is Western lifestyle, not necessarily Western education as such. Life modeled after Western values.
Do they want to live on their own? You know, in United States of America, we have the Amish country, those who have chosen to live life without electricity, education, only 6 years of education from birth till death. They live on their own. Are they saying they just want to live on their own so that the government can be thinking of, okay, you want to live on your own? This is the section of the community will leave you to live your own lives just by yourselves.
Up to this moment, nobody can authoritatively tell you that this is what they want, whether they want to live in isolation of the society in general, or they want to live part of the society but not, complying with certain social values in the society. All we know is that these people want a system modeled after their religion. Their religion preaches that there are certain things you don't do in life. Western way of life here, we talk about mode of dressing. There are societies which accept certain dressing codes. In Islam, they want a lady, for example, to be covered from head to toe.
How does that influence?
Without exposing any part of her body. Some other societies accept dressing which covers part of the body.
It's really hard. You know, I know you're not Boko Haram, but yes, the name you're not Boko Haram, but you're from the state. That is why we thought the United States should also have started some kind of dialogue so that they can open that book which they claim to, because also in that same Quran there's a portion that says, to you is your religion, to me is mine. So if I don't accept yours, the Quran states it clearly. It's like, take your religion and leave me to mine. So why is it that they close that portion of it and want to force your religion on others?
I am not an authority on religious matters. But one thing I can tell you is that as a government for now, before we get to the point of sitting down to discuss with these people, we want to restore the peace in Borno State.
So
and the peace in Borno State can be achieved through some of the initiatives we have started. One of which is we've opened our doors. If any one of them will accept to come and sit down and discuss with us, we will be ready. And we are very sincere and honest about this offer.
So in the meantime, what happens if one breaks the law? You invite them to come in and dialogue, or I don't get it.
Like I told you, the federal government is in charge of the security situation in Borno State.
Really?
And so what they decide to be their best approach as a state government, we are collaborating.
Yeah, but the state government can always give some advice, because that's the state.
Yeah.
You're supposed to have a whole lot of information.
It's good you say it's advice. You can advise and it may not be implemented.
How do you advise we go about this now?
You see, there are certain inputs we make into arresting the security situation without coming to discuss them in public. But certainly we have been making inputs. We know the terrain. We know the people that may be involved or have the tendency to be involved in this type.